Buddy Hackett spent decades standing in front of sold-out crowds, making millions of people double over with laughter. He shared stages with legends, starred in Hollywood classics, and became one of the most recognizable faces in American comedy. But the final chapter of his life looked nothing like the glory days. The laughter stopped, the crowds disappeared, and what happened to him in the end was so far removed from his peak that most fans have never heard the real story. Welcome back to Royal Time of Hollywood. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the bittersweet, heartbreaking final years of a comedy icon. From the streets of Brooklyn to the spotlight. Buddy Hackett was born Leonard Hacker in Brooklyn, New York, on August 31, 1924. His parents were Jewish immigrants trying to carve out a better life. His father upholstered furniture, and his mother worked in the garment trades. They had no connections to show business, and young Leonard wasn't destined for a conventional path. He would laugh his way out of Brooklyn. As a young boy, Leonard developed a severe case of Bell's palsy, a condition that temporarily paralyzes the facial nerves. While this could have isolated another child, it became the foundation of his identity. The paralysis left him with a permanent, asymmetrical smile that slanted to one side and a natural, slurred cadence in his speech. Combined with being severely overweight in a tough neighborhood, Leonard became a constant target for bullies. He quickly discovered that comedy was his best defense. He could say something so unexpected and perfectly timed that the anger would drain out of a confrontation before a fist was ever raised. After serving 3 years in the U.S. Army during World War II, he returned home ready to grind. He cut his teeth in the brutal proving grounds of the Catskills Borscht Belt resort circuit, sleeping on basement floors and performing for free meals. It was here that Leonard Hacker became Buddy Hackett. His major breakthrough came in 1954 on Broadway in Lunatics and Lovers. Hollywood instantly took notice. Over the next few decades, Buddy became a cinematic staple, playing Marcellus Washburn in The Music Man, 1962, and Benji Benjamin in the chaotic masterpiece It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, 1963. Decades later, a whole new generation would grow up knowing his voice as Scuttle the Seagull in Disney's The Little Mermaid, 1989. The woman behind the comic. Behind the raucous, loud, and sometimes blue stage persona was a deeply insecure man who carried the scars of his childhood bullying. Buddy buried himself in his work, believing romance wasn't cards for him, until he met Sherry Cohen. Sherry was a young, Brooklyn-born dance instructor performing as Cher Du Bois. When they met in the Catskills, the connection was instant. They shared the same grounding roots, but Sherry wasn't easily starstruck. When Buddy first asked her out, she refused, noting she didn't know him well enough to get into his car. She was busy working as a daytime telephone operator on the 72nd floor of the Empire State Building and teaching Mambo at night. But Buddy persisted, finally securing a date during a heavy rainstorm. It was the beginning of a legendary 48-year romance. Married on June 12, 1955, they raised 3 children, Sandy, Lisa, and Ivy. At home, Buddy left his character at the door. He was a quiet, fiercely private, and protective father. He credited Sherry with keeping him sane, often noting that she was the only person who looked past the funny face to see the deeply serious man underneath. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to check out the other stories and shocking updates on our channel. We've covered many incredible celebrity journeys, tragic endings, and untold Hollywood secrets that you don't want to miss. Binge watch our previous videos to discover more surprising facts, emotional stories, and where your favorite stars are today. Your support helps us bring you more powerful content like this, so don't forget to explore, watch more, and stay tuned for the next video. A Body in Revolt. By the late 1990s, the physical frame Buddy had used as a comedic instrument began to betray him. Sherry noticed the subtle changes first and pushed him to see a specialist. The diagnosis was grim, advanced, severe coronary heart disease with critically blocked arteries. Doctors urged him to undergo heart bypass surgery immediately. In a shocking move driven by a stubborn desire for independence, Buddy refused. He didn't want to spend weeks recovering in a hospital bed, choosing instead to manage the condition with medication and sheer willpower. The illusion of control shattered in 1996. Mid-performance, Buddy was hit with a wave of severe vertigo and shortness of breath. The room spun, his chest tightened, and for the first time in his career, he lost control of the stage. He walked off and never returned. It was the end of his live touring career. Though Buddy insisted the episode was just a complication from recent gum surgery, his cardiologists knew better. Compounding his heart issues was a secret battle with severe, progressive type 2 diabetes. The two conditions fed into each other, ravaging his circulatory system. His weight fluctuated wildly, and walking across a room left him winded. Deeply anxious about his declining appearance, Buddy retreated from the public eye. In a heartbreaking emotional blow, his increasing frailty forced him to sell off his beloved, lifetime collection of firearms, a final admission that his independence was gone. The quiet end in Malibu. In their final years, Buddy and Sherry completely walked away from show business. They retreated to a quiet beachside home in Malibu and poured their remaining energy into founding the Singita Animal Sanctuary, a rescue for unwanted dogs and cats. Buddy found immense peace comforting animals that had known only neglect. The only exception he ever made to his retirement was performing short stand-up sets at the sanctuary's annual fundraisers. The clock finally ran out on the last weekend of June 2003. Just a week after suffering a debilitating stroke that robbed him of his remaining mobility, Buddy Hackett passed away quietly in his Malibu home on June 29 or 30, at the age of 78. The formal cause of death was severe complications from diabetes and chronic heart disease, the very conditions he had tried to outrun. Per his explicit wishes, there was no grand public funeral. He was quietly cremated. The devastating aftermath for Sherry. The night Buddy died, close Hollywood friends like Jay Moore and Jeff Ross rushed to the Malibu house just to sit with Sherry in the quiet vacuum. Sherry later described the grief as physical, stating that losing Buddy felt like losing half of her own body. For years, internet rumors falsely claimed Buddy died broke and left Sherry in poverty. In reality, Buddy left a substantial estate, but it was heavily tied up in a liquid real estate. Sherry was asset-rich but liquid-poor. Her main security was their massive, 7,800-square-foot Beverly Hills family home sitting on a prime one-acre lot across from the Los Angeles Country Club. Though the house was old and needed work, the land was worth millions. It wasn't until October 2020 that Sherry finally felt ready to let go of the memories tied to those walls, listing the property for $18 million. Through legal strains involving her son Sandy's long-running theater lawsuits in Las Vegas and the challenges of aging, Sherry preserved Buddy's legacy with fierce dignity until her own later years, always correcting the myths surrounding his final days. Buddy Hackett spent his life making the world laugh, but behind the curtain, his final act was a quiet, dignified battle fought alongside the woman who loved him through it all. What is your favorite memory of Buddy Hackett? Was it his legendary role in The Music Man, or his hilarious appearances on late-night TV? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this look into Hollywood history, don't forget to click on the next video on your screen, like, and subscribe to Royal Time of Hollywood for more untold stories.